Hi, I'm Rob Kellogg, and today we're going to talk about electrical shock injuries. What we're going to do is realize that when we have electricity enter our body, it doesn't necessarily stay right there at that particular point, the injury actually can travel through your tissues, and as it exits out, it can cause severe damage as well. We need to understand that there's a lot of temperature increase with this activity, as well as we have the electrical current causes some damage. But we have very common entry points injuries that are very identifiable. And in the lower 600 volts or less kind of environment, we're looking at tissue injuries more that along the lines of a laceration or a cut. When you start getting above that, we're getting to some severity, increased severity of those damaged tissues, and we get to a point where there's almost like a bullet hole kind of entry, and they have a tearing effect. So when this energy goes through you, it actually moves through you, and it's almost like a vacuum effect of tissues that get drawn in to your body. So you literally can have skin driven into and underneath into the tissues like your muscles and things of that nature. So depending on the severity of the energy source, including the amperage, we're looking at where it goes in and where it goes out. So on an electrical shock injury, we need to be very mindful of that path. So there's three things that actually make up electrical shock injuries, and as far as severity calculations, and that is we get into where the entry point was, and I apologize, see if this helps a little better, where the entry point was, and you get into where it traveled through, so the path, and then you have the exit point where it goes through. So we have that path. Where did it go through? Did it go through my fingers, in one finger, out another finger kind of thing on the same hand? Or did it go on a finger on one hand and a toe on the other side of my body? So the severity has to do with where that energy actually flowed through. And we want to be able to evaluate that as well. So if it goes through your head or it goes through your torso, we're starting to talk about internal injuries that you don't know exist. Could very get worse or deteriorate rather quickly, and therefore medical examination needs to be addressed right away. So don't hesitate when you have electricity run through your torso, especially through your gray matter. So in that case, we have to also look at the amperage that goes through the current. Anything from 0.2 or larger could actually cause you to latch on. In some instances, when you get an abundance of amperage, it actually can blow you back. So we have to look at those two kind of injuries are pretty severe. At 0.5, if that energy goes through 0.5 amps or greater, goes through your heart, more than likely that's going to stop it, and it's going to terminate your life. So, and that's why it's real important for people to have that CPR AED training that's required, especially through the National Energy Code, or should I say the NFPA 70E in particular, the safety protocols and practices of electrical usage and exposure. So those are kind of standards that we have to have available when we're, as far as electricians, are exposed to that electrical current. So at 0.5, that's really what we have to be concerned about, or greater. That's going to potentially terminate your heart function, for lack of a better term. And then we get into bacterial infections. If you don't address these injuries, they can deteriorate quickly through a very short period of time, less than a few days. And that's something that was addressed actually in another video called infection prevention. So that's one of the things you need to look at there as well. So the protocols and practices of electrical injuries realistically are, if you have it run through your tissues and out, and it's a visible entry point and a visible exit point, you have one or both of those, please go see a physician, because the tissues underneath could be damaged beyond repair. And unless you get surgery to correct those issues, you might not keep those body parts. So, and that's something to consider. So with that, understand that electrical shock is not just an annoyance. It's not a painful experience, but it can be life-threatening, and it could be physically altering to your abilities to function as a normal human being. So be careful with that, and make sure you follow up on all of your injuries that you deem to have some physician look at. So as always, we encourage you to go down and get yourself checked out if when you're in doubt, but always understand that electricity causes injuries that you don't see and you can't detect until it's too late. So the sooner you get to a physician, less likely these injuries are going to cause more severity than they already are. So with that, I appreciate your time. If you have any questions or concerns with this, please contact us here at Ultimate Group. Our job is to help you any way we can. And as always, safety is not a mindset, it's a state of mind. Have a good day.